international experts. Make sure you tune in every Saturday on Cool FM from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bye! Bon dia! Happy Saturday! Mita espero ko batatating bong simang. Anto ko ito simang produktibo, whatever that means for you. Rasinti man yung simang hindi mas largo, no? So, if simang prometo to partiko. So, definitely contento ko ta siya sabra. Nami ko ta reminders lang kung may remind po. So, di jile. So, thank you to P&G. To dankin na Neutrogena. But awesome sponsors. This is sincerely Carolina and allowing me to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Thank you so much. Também quero agora bolsa da sagre último weekend de conexão com o funds. So strat collecta das please tenha paciência. A mim mesmo indo volunteer rato. Although me to volunteering to the weekend ang aqui just in office. So me to vai ter kaya awe. Ando me lo post my stories where I'm at. So pasa do na donation. May ready no sa cobra. So please by all means tur floring ta konta. No pressure but a little. Paso, yeah. Anyways, other than that, awe não sabay papia kiriba topiko kumikar karo bosa tour panosa nice. Okay, si bota ding comment sections ng pensados biya, si boting pensar comment algo no nice. That's basically it. Bangka respetuoso y nice y ta okay pano sin diferencia de opinión anto qualquer cosa usa po mesmo plataforma pa vocifera po diferencia de opinión me diz que avisa esse. O reminder dami que nossa live riba Facebook e riba YouTube e não worry se mo não por escuchar o resto de episode po supoting ba fe auto af po tabayendo caminho bo por sempre wake episode back riba YouTube riba Facebook e também por escuchar on streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So do not worry about that. Anyways, without further ado, meeting dos guests. Woohoo! Anto, mitabailagan ang introducing ng mes in a little bit. Anto, we will go into our fun conversations. Hello, buen dia.
Buen dia.
Hi, kumbay.
Bong, how are you?
Doing alright?
Sí, okay, me pidi po papi. Tiki mas cerca di mic.
Okay, here we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
See now?
Sí. No, la banda. Das me hise. Tiki mas, yes.
Okay.
You're fine, you're fine.
Okay, I'm fine.
All right. So, nasting, by the way, si bosta new to Sincerely Carolina, then most of my guests may feel new. Pero, may nagkibis kong recycle gas. Pero,
Wow. Hi, we're
How do my
recycled.
pero, Robert ni Lotte no to Sincerely Carolina. And that is a good thing. Kasi kaya kami to appreciate bo. So,
There's longevity.
conversations, right?
Having us again.
Sì, pensei mi chiaro, boso na nilagami, cabe di explica que mo ter que men ko no ko boso ta recycled, but it's a good thing. It's a create sincere Carolina relationship, anto pensei no stay awe atrobe pa have conversations about topics that we care about.
Amazing.
We do?
You see? Ha, patawak? So, it's importante para nos escucha. All right. Lotte, portavo por introduce po mas pa eso nang no conocebo.
Of course.
And just tell them a little bit about yourself.
Mijn naam is Lotte. Ik ben projectleider educatie en programmering naar Cultura pa Kasi dos Ayakaba. Ik studeer naar Amsterdam met een bachelor in social work and arts. Mahasis cultureel maatschappelijke vorming. Mino aan naast na Aruba pero malang teknang si mabing kinang kudusong aya. So here samen the joke with a hybrid. So I guess I fit into both things. You wanna go?
Sure. My name is Robert Anjie. I'm currently working as marketing manager na un local manufacturer of windows and doors. I'm currently doing freelance project coordinating anto mi hay proyecto patraho to kulot ribong otro proyecto di Kasi Cultura trobe.
Yeah, si sa akin no un proyecto nuevo. Imitin ko bisa ko mita sino contento pa wa Kasi Cultura activo in general. Mita haya ko nanta haciendo más y más.
Thank you for noticing.
Yes, I do notice. Lo que pienso ko mita hope aware de mi community. Anto mita sinti ko kasi algo hobby positivo discutir un rap tanto ko ting proyecto ng ko tabi sa agregar na diferente área ng eigenlijk di desarrollo de nossa comunidade. So thank you for that. Pero sí, nós temos papapeawe eigenlijk tocante Pride Month a little bit. Iso com Kasi Cultura também contribuir na isa aqui of proyecto ng continue going on. Dus minasa whomever wants to go, and I will chime in of course, pero mita kira ko portating hina ng ku nosa kiko Pride Month ta of pakiko überhaupt yung Pride Month ipakiko locally tambe ting diferente actividad ng celebration ng pero tambe awareness campaigns etc. going on related to a topic. Dus minus asi unibo sa tingana di eigenlijk explica un tiki kiko Pride Month ta and we will talk a little bit about the upcoming stuff.
You said that you read about it, so
Yes,
please
I did.
tell me what you read.
Well, I didn't specifically read about it. I saw some YouTube videos.
Bawag videos na.
Yes.
Aha.
Yes, exactly. So, like you said, Carolina, June is coming up.
Yes.
And that means it's going to be International Pride Month. All over the world, people are going to be celebrating, showing who they are, and being free as they are. And what Pride is trying to say is you're allowed to be who you are. You're allowed to celebrate who you are. And it wasn't always a celebration. For specifically a specific community, we're talking about the LGBTQIA plus community. It wasn't always that you were able to be yourself and express who you are or express the love you have for someone of the same or the opposite sex. So it started out, Pride actually started out as a protest, back in the day.
Indeed.
It started as a protest with the Stonewall riots.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Yes, no,
and,
it was a bar in New York in 1996, I believe. No, 69. Sorry.
1969, yes.
And it started with a lot of protests from because the police would enter these gay bars and just drag everybody out, and these people feeling like they had no space to go and like they weren't allowed to be there as well, and just people getting very, very fed up with that. And then
It wasn't like legally allowed, you know?
It wasn't
Exactly.
legally allowed in the majority, if not all the states. Homosexual acts were illegal.
Exactly.
You were not allowed to,
Yep.
so for example, gather together or show affection to the same
Dress
Just be.
to the
clothes,
same sex.
yes, dress clothes that
Dress
is not
clothes.
considered to be, and that also, had a lot to do with like women even wearing pants, for example. So there was a lot going on the restriction of people
Yeah.
being,
And the Stonewall Inn was like, they compared it, they had the analogy that it was a watering hole where the LGBT community did have a place to come together. But they also had a bar, and it wasn't, they weren't legally allowed to sell hard liquor, but they did anyways. But the police kept targeting this specific group over and over, so it was kind of systematic. So at a certain point, the community came together and said, you know what, it's enough. It's enough. We're coming together. We are standing for our right. We are taking up space. We are allowed to be who we are. We are allowed to dress how we want to dress, express ourselves how we want to express, and most importantly, we're allowed to love who we are. We want to love.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's how the first Christopher Reeve Gay Liberation Front group and protest started back in 1969.
And from these came all these pillars that we still know in the modern day and age, who we will also be celebrating
Yes.
just a little bit in a
We will-
special way.
We will be celebrating all these heroic efforts and these people that fought and protested so that anybody today can express and love who they are and who they want to be with.
Yes.
And slowly it changed from protests. Slowly throughout the year it changed from protest to a celebration. And that's how Pride came to be, from a protest, and now it's a reason to celebrate who you are without fear.
And yes, but we all know que a situação real nota onde que they imagined it would be at this point in time, right? Dus mi te quiere pa porta contesta a pergunta, a rhetorical question that I am sure many people are asking ta, but why do you have to continue celebrating it, right? Yeah, basta logra local ko supostamente basta chiaro whatever, pa kiko meser keep celebrating. In realidad ta pa sobra ko quieto bai nos nota onde ko nos sta supposita como un society.
Nós temos hope room for improvement. We can still improve. Nós prosseguir vai dilante.
Correcto.
ainda tem lugar na que pabisa e grupo de LGBT não porta fully themselves of expressar na mes sem haya diferente tipo de cara of slurs worden tirar contra
Yes.
I think yes, I do caminho no mundo though.
Sí.
I don't think there's a super open-minded country where everybody is just themselves. Like asa na Holanda, mi dat biba na Amsterdam, and still there was hate, and that is the most open-minded city in the world supposedly, and still there. So
Correcto.
it's also hard to be gay here.
So
Yes.
pride is basically a reason to take up space. Take up space and celebrate who you are. Mostra quem bota e não ter medo.
You have conversations around
You
it.
have conversation about it.
Educate.
Então,
Yep.
educar que que biba e como de LGBT community basura, apesar que é tão minority group, pero nós queda parte da comunidade em geral.
Correcto. Y
And that's the word. It's a community. It's coming together.
Mhm.
It's knowing that there's other people like you out there who are going through the same things and finding support in each other and finding love in each other.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be the most loving place, that community.
Definitely.
So it is, it is not where, and I say supposed to be because I adamantly believe in, human rights, period, and that we don't get to pick and choose whose human rights are more important than somebody else's. Des ora como bisa ko ito supposita enota ni about ko nos lokiar pa eta miho of nos lokiar pa eta mas nice of more inclusive eta ko ito hon supposita de un mundo onde ko turhena tin direito pa existir ita quem não quer tá, right? E de hopi área nang onde ko nos nota o nos supposita. I get that. Which is why this month is important. Panos para kia riba how far the fight has come. Celebrate that, pero also una ainda falta. So kiko na sa hopi durante el luna akita rainbow flags everywhere.
Lots of rainbows everywhere.
Everywhere, right? Hobby campaigns ng the brands, the stores ng tapay participa na isaki to a certain extent. I hobby biya extent ta kunang ta rainbow wash, right? Nanta pone hobby rainbows on
Yes.
everything.
On everything.
Yay, gays.
See, basically that is the sentiment. Yup. Después voy a coger também gewoon share hobby cos, pero esta onda tem a substance to it, right? Onda de verão nós está tendo conversação não over, conversação não sano, me dá espera, onda que de verdade nós escuta e compreende.
Compreender e dialogar.
Juist.
Want ik heb het bij resto die aan também. Not just in June.
Not just in June.
Not just in June. We're here all year.
Não, Lotte.
Not a seasonal thing, guys.
Como que ama querer botão tá sendo de onde yeni.
We come out of this rainbow color closet every June, and then we go back.
Pero
Sí.
because this was the Halloween, Mariah Carey to return from the ocean was to celebrate Christmas.
It is
Yes,
Frosty.
and Michael
Because the
Bublé as
frost
well.
was
Sí,
in
Michael
place.
Bublé
This
también,
was
sí,
June.
totally.
June 1, rainbows everywhere.
And then we
Sí.
freeze them back
And
on
then we freeze them
January
back.
1st. Okay.
Sí.
Oh, that's gays too. I'm glad we're here to inform the
Sí.
public.
No, pero sí, lo cual que vos a compartir hobby importante me te quiere pa dar context into why there are going to be more events, into why there are going to be more conversations about it. Probablemente não sabe wak hobby cos na riba social media também, gente também share. Some people might get triggered for so many different reasons. E me diz que a bisa gente também ko ding sa Sir Carolina nós vai have different types of conversations during the month. Dus nós vai touch riba diferente area nang, pero me quer pa gente sa, eigenlijk ko ta okay pa mane bosinti porta un tiki triggered of pa bosinti mane
A little bit of
fastioso.
discomfort.
Yes.
It's okay. You don't have to have the same opinion. Just
No.
be open about it and don't shut yourself off from the conversation, because we're willing to have the conversation also.
Yes. Antes say the cause. Ku nas mesta honesto with that reality, right? And it's the same about so many other things. So it's important for us to be human and realize that there are things that are a little bit more interesting, or that we care more about, and therefore we have we spend more time researching and learning about. And there are things that don't touch us personally maybe, so we don't really care about it, and then it's in our face, and then we're like, okay, what do I have to do with this? So it's probably gonna be like that in the coming month for some people. Anto me diz que arbisa turhene ko his but yung tiki tempo iba open for it, learn a little bit about why tem luna é rover. Tem mesmo discussão que nós tínhamos, por exemplo, para que tem luna de dia de mulher, por exemplo, right? E tá para sobre que hopi abai den town na nossa awe e local que falta ainda. So it's not that we think that this group is special and requires like extra attention or whatever. Ito ko gewoon ting conversations on to be had. Kito buy about it, right? E na Aruba, not diferente. Of course. So, mina só se você quer share tiki de kiko ta a type of events ko hene por verwacht vooral, you know, vanuit Casa Cultura.
We can only speak for ourselves.
Yes.
Pero misa ko tayo, ay pasando sa yung like un Pride Month calendar tambe ko to evento nang ko totoranti is ko like being junto on that calendar.
Sí, nanda pensa que
Sí, misa mga na post ay ko man
It's loading.
Sí,
You were asking
Pride
about it, yeah.
event pabulagan ng sa tao pa nang pone ba calendar pa no yung full Pride Month again. Pero for now, I think we can only speak for our own events.
Pero queda pendiente pa e calendar aqui na anto analisa e calendar aqui ando wak ki cultura evento tabay ting ando keep an open mind di pambisita undi evento ng aqui ando pa nos por siyon tiki mas siyon conhecer e hinenan de comunidad so essa é enter e bedoeling di Pride Month pabo siyon conhecer kente community ando siyon tiki over mas di jele sing ting yung type of discrimination.
Yeah, speaking of an open mind, tell us about the events because that's a nice bridge you got there.
Well, ito na is pa sobre Casa Cultura pa di 3 anos tabay ita tuma parte di International Pride Month ko su celebration from what started to a small events ding a lobby di Casa Cultura award ki to the big stage. Casa Cultura una vez más te presenta Pride on Stage 2023.
Bigger than last year.
Bigger and better than ever. Dus ito ba ita actividad dus mi safely bisa ko Casa Cultura ta unja promenang ding eluna pa start ko
Yeah, I think so. I think we're kicking it off.
Well, I mean, unless but the contestants here Carolina then, you know.
Oh, sorry. Okay, consider it kicked off right now.
See, by
and
deze,
then we're
el lachen
second.
off.
No, nós estamos contentes de ter do sostenedor de allies maneira sincerely Carolina com o programa na assina aqui
Speak,
com
Carolina.
foster inclusion and diversity equity aqui riba isla de Aruba anto para nós de Casa Cultura oportunidade para vai papi tiki mas de Pride on Stage. So,
Allies are so important. So thank you.
very.
We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit as well.
Yes, good. Okay, Kiko eigenlijk de Pride on Stage. Well, maneira mabisa kapa ta di 3 anos ko Casa Cultura ta celebrando International Pride Month. E pro minha ano ta atividade chiquito com viewing de production company na New York com bem com bonita produção de baile, cantamento, música. Então nós fazemos viewing de essa em lobby de Casa Cultura. Então o seguinte ano nós de hey, para que nós não take it on to the big stage. Então sai ta kami na Pride on Stage nasce. E para prome viajar riba escenario de Casa Cultura nós estamos tem drag queens. Então essa é algo grande para sobre prome antes essa não estava possível.
It's a new art form that we haven't had before. That was super cool.
Correcto. Sí.
Maybe you can, in a little bit after Robert has a rundown the event, explica tiki tame di kiko eta pa hende sa. Yeah. So they know what the art form is and what it entails, because I think we don't talk enough about it in the sense of it being, you know, a performative art form. Yeah.
It is.
Well, palo cual ta art form de being a drag queen ta well kung persona male te transforma su mes door de preparar culpa pa fit dinge profile de hene mulher e perform tambe. Hopi viaja essa aqui da em forma de baile, cantamento of lip syncing of a fabulous outfits também.
I think it's embracing your like both your masculine and your feminine side and being proud of both of those sides as well, and to celebrate those and knowing that you can perform in both,
both,
but also
okay.
embodying such a different personality. Because sometimes our queens, when I see them, when I'm from meetings at Cultura, and then I see them on stage and I barely recognize them, because it's just such a transformation, and it's so nice to see how someone's personality just flourishes on that stage once they're in their drag performance, and that's super cool.
Sí, a mí también algo super great y bonito, pero para mí it's somehow still a protest.
For sure. Anto,
It's a protest die mostra que hey, ser masculino porta feminine de su manera também e expressar su mes assim na einan também. Ou seja, quanto tempo esta toma para onde drag queens na aqui preparar das vestimenta de paia, das primeiro tenho laga coisa paia, preparar paia, sapato, everything, you name it, e make-up, e preparamento de nang wig também, e show com anta hinka den outro, anto não que ni cara liba e huge halto nang com anta baile ni ba je.
You've tried them.
Good. See, this
It's a art form rin sa mga.
And try doing a death drop in those.
Exactly.
And try doing it in a really
heavy
tight
costume.
dress, a heavy costume, and
most
with
of the
And there's a
all
whole
that
body under it also.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's super impressive.
See, this essay taka local Pride on Stage abinita 13 pa pro maybe hari scenario nacional de Aruba no stata ting drag queens anto kiko Pride on Stage evolutionary bira yora ela bira no se llama un Pride performance concert. Camino but
So it's a little bit more than
artistas na local LGBTQIA+ artists e allies nan tambe to biniri no scenario junto ke drag queens e perform canta celebra Pride canta canciones conocidas in a community pa could give us strength and fortitude pa pusa por sigi mostra que hey por expressar quem mo está e pa futura geração nan tambe sinti que hey I can be who I want to be.
Yes.
Anto essay the local Pride on Stage ta eta celebrating diversity anto 13 gente junto and to foster inclusion by means of arts and culture.
May just get a side note on a idea di man yung drag. Of course, lokal ko ta awen dia riba so men sa akbira man un genre riba so men sa eigenlijk ding performance arts eigenlijk. Pero idea di drag in itself not algo novo. Anytime ko batawak history, for example, ibatawak kung teater tatawaro hasi antes, eigenlijk full idea di theater in general toto male only art form.
Yeah.
Anto tata normal e by no means hena mulher para participar, dus hena hammer ang tao ta take up the roles ng di hena mulher também. Dus idea ko eta algo novo, of idea ko eta algo qua bing ding ultimo ayan nang absolutamente no verdad.
No, I think the art form developed itself,
yes,
definitely.
Into more of like a...
It's always been a thing.
Yes, exactly. Dus mi kapa nos para que tu ribe sei tame ko awen dia e diferencia ta ko basta people take the power in it from being something ko tota super exclusive e ko ta echt wara usa eigenlijk pa man undermine a group of people of pa no laga otra gente não participate. It's taking that power and do hasi algo mejor con ele, hasi algo más positivo con ele eigenlijk. E me creio que é importante para nós para que tu na esse que tem hobby coisas ko we are so surprised about sometimes e me bisa we as in society. Pero it's just a modern form of something else.
See, I think also sometimes people mistake the concept of sexuality and gender also.
Also, for sure.
So someone who is a drag performer does not mean that they're transgender. It does not mean they're gay.
It does not mean they're gay.
That's not at all. And I think a lot of people link that like, oh, he wears a dress, so he wants to be a woman, and he's also gay then. And that is not how this whole concept works at all. These are artists, these are performers who express themselves in a very free and loving and fun way.
Siguro, I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay, go.
Oh.
Okay.
Você conhece a película Mrs. Doubtfire?
No, me no.
Mrs. Doubtfire did Robin Williams?
Robin Williams, yeah.
Okay.
He
I
wears
know,
a dress.
but I know.
That's the clue.
Me just karbiesa ko.
Madea.
Mi santo. It's like I know that these are all.
Madea, right?
Anto nato comedy films. Anto maybe this is a moment where y'all learn a little bit about me. I'm not into comedy much.
But not tayo funny?
No. Mani, minuto ko de most jokes.
Okay.
So I'm not a comedy person, so it's like I know what you're talking about, pero no po bisa ko mawake, no sa storyline.
Well, it's more, I think the point is that Robert is trying to make is that we swallowed that movie up when we were kids also.
See,
Yeah, in Madea as well.
These were men.
Same as Madea.
These were
Think money a
men
bunch of
dressed in ladies wear. This drag.
And it's funny, right?
Hot chicks.
Hot
chicks.
chicks.
Yes. White chicks.
White chicks.
Yes.
The
That's
hot
what I
chick
do
or
know.
white chicks?
Yes.
You have to choose.
White chicks. This is
white chicks,
another form of
Yep.
drag também.
Claro.
Pero hopi não tá consciente disso, e passando de outro setting.
Kasi no tawara presenta as drag. Ang no. Kere ko esita nuance ko ta binko nele. Although it's the same thing happening, kung ita wara presenta ta diferente. Dus ora ko bisa bijvoorbeeld RuPaul's show, you know that it's going to be about that. You know what you are going to expect. Ang tapos sako ta ting. Dus hena ta make a conscious choice. Nanta bisa ya mino ka wake pa sobra I'm not okay with that. Pero nanta guli tour film di Madea si. Paso nanta bunch, right? So I mean, si. Nanta mani nanti number, same isa.
No, you're absolutely right.
But
But I think talking about that, about those misconceptions, is also why I'm going to go back to Cultura, guys.
Yeah, go.
Is also why this year we decided to expand our event. So Aya Posano, Sasi Pride on Stage, we celebrated, we had fun, it was colorful, we danced, and it was music, and it was super, super, super lovely. But toch was I on like feedback the public. Okay, listen, love it, colorful, amazing,
celebration, great.
but maybe the public deserves and needs to know what we're celebrating and why we're celebrating and how it is to be in the community here and what kind of help there's out there and just how does it work? What are you celebrating? Is it more than men in dresses, or is that just it? So we decided that we need to educate the public as well.
We took all this feedback because we as a community, we are listening.
And I think that is very important.
We are listening, and we took that feedback and we extended Pride on Stage to become a 2-day event with now coming up Pride Talks.
Woohoo.
Road to Understanding.
Roads to Understanding. So it's going to be a 2-day event, and the dates are June 9th and 10th of this year. June 9th being for Pride Talks, and June 10th, Pride on Stage.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Pride Talks first.
Yes.
So what is Pride Talks? As we already said, Pride on Stage, initial how it came to be. Well, Pride Talks came from the feedback that we got. Hey, people want to know more. People want to learn more. People want to be more connected and to hear about the community. So that's where Pride Talks came, because we want to talk about it. We want people to hear about it and educate themselves on what it is to be of the LGBTQIA plus community. And June 9th is the perfect day for everybody to come and sit down and listen to what the different speakers that we are going to have, that they are going to say.
Yeah, also so it's no surprise that Robert and I are both in the community, obviously.
Yes.
And growing,
proud.
Yeah, I'm very proud, obviously. But growing up here, it was very hard to find information that I needed when I figured out that I might not be straight. Whatever I thought I was at that moment doesn't matter. Just I knew that there might also be a chance that I also liked women. And everything being so focused on a male and female, get married, get a baby, buy a house, live happily ever after kind of thing, it makes you feel like an outsider. Like you don't deserve to have the information that you so desperately need. I didn't even know that I needed more information. I had no idea. It just makes you feel small and insignificant.
Sí, correcto.
And I mean, we're a little bit older now. We're not in high school anymore, and we figured it out on our own, basically. As you have to here.
Pastor, no dating guidelines ding in sexual education na school for the LGBT.
No.
youth, no tapatating. Tapos kung outro pabuhayan sa ayora kung costa bay.
I mean, that at first, also like, how does it even work? But also, what are the risks?
Kiko te risk.
Yeah.
Siguro.
Because we know we have to use contraception when we have sex with a man and a woman, but never was it mentioned that you also need to use that if you're having sex with someone of the same sex, of the same gender. That was never an issue. So, brainstorming about that at Cultura for almost 2 years now, actually, we thought, well, if we are looking for this information, or we're looking for this information, imagine how many people there are out there who also need this information, who also feel exactly, who also feel the same way. And now that we're grown up and we have this platform under our butts, why not use it to give the information for the next generation? That,
and also understanding that there's so much that goes into it, right? Mi quiere como community, is in the urban community, non so be passive. Dus even si nos misteri information fagasina, nos not actively look for it. If it happens to flash right before our eyes, anto nos ta register, could there is an organization, could traha riba XYZ, and there nos ta corda, maybe when we need it. Pero for the rest, nos ta hopi passive. So, kiko ta pasata, ku hopi bia hende, nota ni durf, of na ni sa kom pa busca passar eigenlijk.
and they don't even know where to start.
Where to start, exactly. And I just wanted to say that there's so much more other than, of course, education on, I don't know if we're allowed to say that word.
Geslachtsgemeenschap.
On
Can we do that?
Intimate relations.
I think
I don't know.
I think
Did
that's like
did I say a word I was not supposed to?
I think that's
Yeah,
the official term,
I am not
right?
sure. Yeah, but I don't know. Anyways, Alex, si vas escuchando, please let us up.
What would be the term then?
Pero, anyways,
Relationships with people.
íntimo.
Intimate
Relación
relationship.
íntimo.
Intimate relationship,
sí,
sure.
sí.
We
Pero,
all know.
Pero, tinha sina hopi mas coisas que to go in it, right? The idea the even having questions, the idea the isolation, having tough conversations, etc. There's so much more that people need help with.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of
with.
gay kids come from straight parents. That is,
Yeah.
logistically
Logistically
thinking,
thinking.
that is how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, I was gonna say like yeah.
I mean, of course, there's also gay couples who have got children. Like, please don't think that I don't
Yeah.
know those people
I know,
exist.
I know.
Also possible.
But a lot of gay kids come from straight parents. So figuring out your sexuality or your I don't know how to name this. I'm just gonna beep my words. Your parents also don't know how that works because they're not in the community.
They're not in the community.
So
and this is exactly why Pride Talks is so necessary.
It is. We need to talk about these things. We need to inform the public, and we need to also, and that is a very important aspect, I think, of Pride Talks, is open the space to ask questions anonymously. When you're in the crowd, that is both completely fine, but feel like this is a safe space for you. There's no judgment here. You can ask anything, and we're here for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're creating that platform as we go.
platform,
We're writing history as we go,
We are
honestly.
writing
And also having like the right platforms, right? So the youth doesn't always even go to parents regardless
No, true.
of whatever issues they are going through. They don't usually go to their parents. They go to their peers first. That's where young people
We get
go.
most of our information.
Yes, they go to their peers. They go to people about their age, and if they feel like a friend knows a little bit more about something, they will go to that friend.
Hopefully they're correctly informed.
Hopefully, most of the times they're not because they are young. And even sinang water informed in a certain way, the brain selects information that it wants to keep and not. Pero bueno, kiko ta pasa ta ku it's having systems in place kuta accessible, kuta inclusive, kuta welcoming, pa a youth por go and ask questions about anything and everything. Kiko ta pasa ta ku manera po sa mencionar, siempre volver un parent nunca no ervar algo ng noting personal first-hand experience pa na sa una babae noting yung otro trusted adult ko por provide good information.
Good information, sim.
What happens is, or what tends to happen is, kukosan tabay fault.
Fault, tabing frustration,
Aha.
tabing insecurity,
Yes.
tabing hope feelings ng arriba. Ko imitan ko
Iko yung butik bay pack up essay nang tambe. You know?
But this can be very long-term effects also.
Yes. Yes.
And these can be, I'm not saying that our Pride event is going to avoid these things,
No.
but we might be taking a step in the right
Yes.
direction.
And that is the thing. It's taking up this moment to at least pone a basic layer the information. Pone a basic layer di mani hey nos no podo na tur information awe over turcos, but remember these organizations names. Basta?
Exactly. That's why we're putting
yes.
these people on stage
Yep.
and showing them like, hey, okay, so these people exist. These people are open-minded. They're informed. They're here to help you. And these specialize in this and these specialize in that. I
Yep.
think Robert's going to talk about them in a bit with a drum roll. But for these people who are in the crowd and watching online or watching it back or wherever you are, if you're listening to it, if you're seeing to it, if you're there, to know that these people you can go to, this is the help that's out there.
This is the information that's available.
Yep.
These are the people that are there for me and that I can go to without judgment. I can ask my questions.
And even if the people there are not the ones that are gonna answer your specific questions, they will probably know where you can go.
Where you
Exactly.
can
And that is also important. Pasobra, may tikita importante ko manema mencionan sa in different episodes riba sincere career riba different topic lang, and I know for sure kung not by touch riba tur subjects lang kung haya ta relevant and important, it's impossible. Pero
once again, you're
hopefully-
taking a step in the right direction.
But hopefully, you hear something or about someone or an organization ono ko sibo por bay ko more specific questions, iko por yuda giyabo haya information a. And Pride Talks is also doing that, right?
See, also, but you
It is
double
providing
reach
that.
out. But so it's hard to reach out
Yeah.
to someone if you're struggling with something. Whatever you're struggling with, to even take the step to approach someone to ask for help is hard. And then imagine you go to the wrong person, and that person says, "Yeah, well, there's nothing I can do
There's
about
nothing
that.
I can do.
Whatever.
Zoek het maar uit."
Yeah, zoek het maar uit. You're never gonna ask for help again. So I think a lot of people are hesitant, which is why we invited Robert.
Yes. Okay. So for those still wondering,
tell us.
those still wondering, kiko tabaiting dia 9 de Juni na Casa Cultura, Pride Talks. So Pride Talks tabaita, mi po yamelong seminarium, conference, kung
What do we call it? I think a seminar would be
appropriate, right?
The thing is, like, we want to highlight the fact that it's very informal
Ito, hope informal
and not naman is stijf of nada. It's just like a fun
Hope
conversation.
accessible.
Hope you're
Sí.
accessible. Like, ask your questions. Don't
Sí.
come dressed in a suit, like, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe seminar is not like
No.
the right word. I wanna say it's like an assembly.
Town hall meeting.
Kind of,
Town hall meeting.
Yeah. it gives off that
The town of
vibe.
gays.
What a time to be alive.
Lotte, no, se suppose ta informando hena nandi forma hobby, you know, inviting sound on
Inviting.
a town hall meeting for gays.
I didn't
It's
say
not.
town hall meeting. He said town hall meeting.
It is not.
I think
But
it's
clarify
It is not.
real quick, it is
Okay.
not that, okay?
Okay.
That was a joke.
It's an
haha.
informative event.
Kiko
Informative
nos
event.
Yes, an informative event.
Kika tabaita informative event. Kamina nos tabaiting panel de experto nang hinenang konosi deng area de LGBTQIA plus community. I orbi bisa saki king, por ejemplo, nos tabaita contando ku doctor médico, nos tabaita contando ku therapist, psicólogo nang, y nos tabaiting conocido transgender ku passes su transition tambe papapia over di differente tema nang ku ta dry runs di LGBTQIA+. Ormi papia over ormi bisa di differente tema na mita papiando tema nang manera safer sex practices, mita papiando di por ejemplo STIs coming out. Kung e processo etapa sora pa cada gente eta diferente pa e persona que tá coming out
whether ki edad, whether si eta joven, of si eta adulto, of si eta gente grande, coming out is never easy. E também focusando em outra parte também é maior na dia persona que está coming out. Hey, meu mulher, meu homem acaba de come out que não gosta é same sex. What do I do? Que como tá hasi? Una me provide para mais informação. Como tá support nang? Como por ajuda nang para não mais cômodo com não por confiar a mim como maior para por explicar me the things that are going inside their head and como não tá feel about themselves. It's about creating a safe space para por dialogar over the tópico nang ku mitindi bisa honestamente tem na tabu aqui nang Naruba.
Highlighting the fact that this is not an event for gay people. It's an event for everyone. Everyone who has an open mind is welcome.
Sì. E mi capisce sei tame, no? So, a mencionar differente punto nang ku nos quer pensa que nossa biba ding silos, ding little boxes nang anto ko communities nota communicate ko outro af ko you know what happens there doesn't affect me. Essa não é verdade. No momento que tem problemática na de uma comunidade, even se não está directly affecting you, está indirectly affecting you. Dus a importância disso, por exemplo, que está praticando para relação íntima que está mais safe, por exemplo, safer, então pensei nós está make very conscious choice para use that word safer.
Because fully safe doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist, yes. Pero ito hope importante para informação e waro na pa sobra even si bota kere ko bosa you might not know anto bokyar porting informação e papomens pero pehena ng rondibo tamides e tipo de evento aqui porta helpful for so many people e porta helpful pa teachers e porta helpful pa parents pero porta helpful pa mane older siblings ng tambe des bating ko pensa
friends and family
yes.
For medical professionals
social workers
everyone
yes.
Nos eerste lijn também corpos politie tour e grupo ng aki ng please join e evento aqui para ser tiki mais over a comunidade.
Correto. No momento que você compreender, mijo, você compreender, sim, me quer emphasize on this, riba já também. Para compreender que tem coisas que está afetando nós como comunidade e no momento que você tem uma comunidade que está mais safe em sentido de mentalmente, emocionalmente, fisicamente, e está no bem-estar de nós tour no momento que nós por compreender e empatizar com gente melhor está na bem-estar de nós tour se me quer dizer também tá hobby importante para ter em conta na gele e se você vai que poster também yes I am there too which is no surprise right I mean me tem hobby importante para sobra me quer que nós tá põe assim no hobby emphasis riba eigenlijk separar gente e not so much riba e parte ng una ko nós tínhamos needs at nós tínhamos questions in life nós tínhamos tipo de mané coisas que nós deseja para a whole person das é a hobby importante para genuinely compreender que there might be somebody next to you at work at school gente que para wak porta kasi tour dia que gewoon não tem safe person em sua vida para bair na gel e ter conversação e me não tô pensando que bating ubira experto riba tour área anto irita safe person pero just thing basic information you could save somebody's life for example
and keep an open mind
right
let's not be islands on
an island
smaller islands on a big island
correto
like we all live here
e me daquele é fato eta evento que tá grátis tá hasele has edrampa hobby mais bom hasele hobby mais acessível que in nota conta de você não pode afford it anto no é informação que should be getting to as many people as possible
there's no excuse not to come
exactly you know so hace uso de oportunidade aqui para escutar tiki mais então hopefully assim cresce o conhecimento de nossa realidade na Aruba me quer dizer também é hobby importante so tem hora não nós estamos vivendo globalized world yay for that pero at the same time nós temos tendência na Aruba de focus riba aqui que tá passa afo anto share que tá going on afo e não põe ênfase suficiente riba nossa situação local nos resources ng local nossa realidade local das mitahay hobby nice e hobby importante também para durante luna aqui se boquear participate as an ally, se boquear você tá pendiente, tá consciente e compartilhar esse por de hacerle as much as you can, so by all means tem hobby informação e for international hobby great também, pero por de as much as possible share about local resources lang. Pa hena nang kuta actually rondibo por wake e hopefully haya informação de lugar nang kunang actually misterije e por by na jele. So I just wanted to add that. Course.
I think it's important to say also that not only did we have medical professionals that we've invited and people from the community, but like you said, the Hopi Foundation down there, there's a lot of organizations that also provide a lot of support for the LGBTQIA plus community.
Support and services.
Yes, definitely. In their own special way, of course, because these all have different goals. So we decided to highlight 3 of these organizations during our Pride Talks event also.
Sí, nós também conta com 3 organizações aqui com entre outros Família Planear, que também tem sua informação de Safer Sex Practices. Nós por conta com a organização HIAS. Lotte, explica um pouquinho mais de HIAS.
I think the easiest way to describe HIAS is that Nandahasi Hopi good work. They are a very large worldwide organization, but I think here specifically they focus on the refugee crisis that we have.
And the migrant community.
Yes, definitely. And they make sure that these people get the help that they need. They get the medicines that they took in the country that they came from as well. And lately I've learned that they work a lot with the community as well for people who, for example, were transitioning in another country and then came here and need the right medicines or the right support, and he has also helps out with that. So I think generally they just fight for human rights in the broadest sense of the words.
That is a huge chunk of what they do. Anto natabotati algum episodes pasa kinanang we echt applaud the work that they do, but sobrang natako above and beyond in making our community a safer place for people who portabo de otras circunstancias nang nolo sinti safe to entre otro mani bijvoorbeeld migrants. Dus yes, Antonos by ting un organización más to?
Sí, nos by ting Fundación Orgullo tambe presente para tuna LGBT community mes tambe un update di con nos para con nos leinan aquí nang paku casamento di same sex marriage aquí nang na aruban.
Noto un discusión novo. We have heard it.
Noto un discusión novo.
But we're gonna get an update.
Nos ba update dia aquí nang dinang inang pa explica kung leu e caso ta i pakiko et sina importante. E organisasyon aqui também tem também dia e na dia 9 de junho na nos Pride Talks, dus bini um tour anto pa que cultura está passando and to find out a little bit more. Porque misa orgulho também também tem na universo programa.
Nanti não par outro simang for sure. Sim, nanti outro simang sim.
Sim, great.
Nós vai papi about mental health, you know, nós vai papi tiki di inderdaad e impact ku entre outro coming out tini ribong família, não solamente ribe persona, pero ribong família, to say nang this is a interesting episode indeed.
Sí, tabay to interesting episode e ku tabay add on to lo cual tabay ta dia 9 Pride Talks Roads to Understanding.
Yes.
Dus una vez más Pride Talks ta un dia informativo para turhene por binis, nos papel social workers, docente nang kutanda ku mucha na school, ku hobe nang tambe, police nang donadonan di cuido médico também. Bini dia 9, nós também temos panel extenso de maneira de Lotte pesa doctor médico, psicólogo nang e nós também toca diferente tema para o qual tá LGBTQIA+ community.
Aantal topics could also be touched nos are received from the community as well. Like that's there's a lot of misinformation about these kind of topics, a lot of not information about these topics, I guess. So, like taking that in mind, nos kis topic na ay panos poneba stage,
stage. Dialogar.
If we can flow with them.
Yes.
E great anoche informativo aqui tá com tabaita possível por hasi pergunta.
Yes, também quero avisar.
Manda por pergunta também, e link na tabaita.
Anonim, se
tabaita possível, assim é anonim. Dus não tem motivo para não participar.
Correto. E, you know, it's informational. I mean, if you enjoy informational conversations, se bota gusta, por ejemplo, the type of contact this is Siri Kalina, mani mi nolo ta involved, si mi nota quiere quello thing value, you know. Kona te yamele there's a name to that type of like review.
Pero
yes. Pero basically, same ka bisa. Si bota enjoy these type of conversations, bota enjoy informational stuff, and you like listening to stuff that you can actually do something with afterwards. Mita invitabo so ungitur pa being a Pride Talks now.
I think time
gratis.
Cultura.
I think time learning is never wasted tampoco.
Right?
It's always good to keep learning new things and have an open mind and just be present.
Even si abo no tabay hasi nada ko information A, si no tabay si abo no tating ser portado yung information A in any way, chances are it will come in handy for somebody else.
You need to have it.
Yes, chances are que somebody else might need it anto boporta ihende iko por ayuda ihende. So you know, in the whole thinking of being more socially responsible and more empathetic, look at it that way as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Sí.
Hey, Carolina, pa doon un recap di nos confusa hoy para lo cual ta baita el luna de Juni. Dus dia 9 Pride Talks Road to Understanding kami nos loting diferente experto ng kuting experiencia ding LGBTQI+ community dialogando riba diferente tema con lo cual toca e comunidad aquí. Turhene turta invita dia 9 eta un free event porta nanta habari 6:30 actividad nesta comienza shetor.
Pergunta ko porta hena tem um age restriction na Pride Talks?
Only Pride Talks, não tem um age restriction. So, nós queremos informação aqui tá importante para toda gente de toda idade. Não somente jovem, pero maior nan também, gente grande. Tem uma ou outra pergunta, pastora. We all know somebody out there who tá dentro da comunidade.
Yes, awesome.
But do keep in mind that some topics are gonna be touched. We are going to talk about intimate relationships is the correct term I've recently learned. We're going to talk about STIs. We're going to talk about certain medicines you
mental
can
health.
take. We're going to talk about mental health. So just keep that in mind. And of course, as Kasi Cultura, we always keep it very proper and there will not be any curse words or nothing like that. But we are going to talk about real topics with real people. And we're not going to beat around the bush or anything. So do keep that in mind.
Sí.
Dia 9 de Juni. Pride Talks Roads to Understand.
And that's a Friday.
That's on a Friday.
Yes.
And then comes the fun and celebratory part.
Because we're also proud and we love it.
We're proud, we're loud, and we love it. And we want to celebrate. We want to have fun. We want to be who we want to be and love who we want to love. This Pride on Stage, the perfect event, pa por bini and celebrate who you are. Or celebrate ang otro loved one ko today community. Dus ito ang atrope event na aki nanta pa LGBT community pero ito pa full comunidad being celebra junto, bringing everybody together. Ato Pride on Stage ay aki ta konta atrobe ko nos drag queens ng inos ta biting otro artista ng cantando tama na Janedi e Agent Similar ta beta baitay ka ako ng kansyon i nos ting headlining Syncoustic e banda featuring Jairo tama ta baitay ko ta baitay may majority di programa ko ta bay diferente kantika ng ito baita audio visual performance kami na ito algo kubot Mr. Tay pa po akay presensyal mes baita show full tremendo hinkade otro mi bisa mas grande ko ay.
Oh yeah, definitely. We have even more people involved. Nos yung DJ tama ko to perform in drag. Nos yung DJ Alexa White ko to hope leuk. We have a really nice MC. Do we announce it yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, that's still secret. Okay, that's a secret.
Contact ko nos drag queens ng Alan Cock, Dito Fontis, Natasha na tambe ta baitay pa deli tayo publiko din kunang show ko ahasi impacto ayon pa sa Carolina.
Yes.
Gusto wa kay hinang enjoy kung a performance na aki ba iriba na hirchihalto.
The crowd went wild. But it's even more of a statement this year. So we haven't seen it yet, but they've been preparing for a really long time for this.
Nice.
And it's a statement, definitely.
Well, mi just karbi sa turhiyane ko também tem 2 atividades que não está for sure, right? Provavelmente também tem mais atividade durante Luna, and I will share more information once I have that as well. Pero me quero que tá hope importante para consider que there's 2 aspects to Pride Month. There is the informational learner part, you know, onde nós temos knowledge e nós become more aware and hopefully nós grow nos empathetic self. Pero também a celebratory part, this, you know, celebrate your loved ones, enjoy it ko ng, you know, hasi uso di momento aqui pa show support.
Pa show support,
yes,
siguro.
Ito hobby importante.
Important.
Yes, ito hobby importante pating mi sempre te sabihin no pa sobra ko algo ta afektado directamente kerman ko ora able me secure about something of ke ora so but by support of basta advocate for it mi ta comprendendo no para hasi turcos. I would love to be able to do everything but I can't. Pero si bo por at least husa oportunidade di mani awareness month por exemplo of mani Pride Month dinge kaso aqui pa show some support. It's much appreciated, much more than me te quiere ko ever nos mis lo realize.
Just take a moment to stand still and to
Yes.
reflect on other people
Yes,
around you.
and celebrate them,
And
right?
And celebrate them.
Yes. Pride on Stage seating tickets.
Pride
Portava
on
por
Stage
quickly bisa nós prijs aan het hena por haya aqui, né?
Sì, Pride on Stage tem small fee com ele de 30 florin.
Okay.
So nós quer bisa turnos artista na nossa prêmio nang pa talento com nanta 13 on the stage. Dus 30 florin bedrag simbólico e tickets está available na Casa Cultura e Plaza Bookshop na Dakota.
Awesome.
Yes. E nós temos bisa atividade aqui sim da G5 plus.
Okay.
Hobe ng mas young por bini accompanied by an adult.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, dus zei dat hobby importante. E alla vez também me quero bisa ko nós também tem giveaways também. So tune in during the week and sa Siri Carolina pa asina bating a chance di gana tickets pa Pride on Stage.
Yes.
And of course, you know, come to Pride Talks. Say si bonoti yung budget, that's fine, pero at least being a say and to see and to have nice conversations with people.
Sí, a mí there are different people nenos comunidad bini e presencia. No tiene a minha professora ainda estigmateico si mi pai atividade aqui na que ben a mitad parte de community.
Ah, sí, please, me não pensa você, but please não pensa você.
Please, stop it.
Sí,
Casa de Cultura, beating heart de nos comunidade, turhene ta welcome e nanang e
Nossa kasi tu hende.
Kasi turhene.
Yep.
Atividade aqui ta turhene bini uni junto pasinha conhecer din tiki mas education e awareness de local de community e dia 9 bem hay mais informação e dia 10 bem celebrar junto com a comunidade também.
Wow, a lovely ending.
Right? Thank you so much for that. It's a nice conversation. We create an informational conversation. Riba, what to expect, right? Durante Pride Month, internationally but also nationally, mi tikira topi importante para realize kung aruba sa kita matawaro celebrar iku tabay tin diferente tipo de atividade ang basta kabihayo un taste local que te parte di Casa Cultura. Te hobi contento en verdad que Casa Cultura está más activo uno, pero dos de diferente forma. Cosa importante para nos progreso.
Happy to have you on board, Tambe.
Awesome. I am happy to be on
Looking
board.
forward to seeing you on the 9th, Carolina.
Sí, nosotros así joke canto mi nabing ko glitter awi.
But you have glitter on your eyes.
Ah, right. Nosotros así joke ayer. Nosotros tuvimos an awesome meeting and conversation in preparation for this. This definitely, I look forward to this. Come and show support and learn a little sobra. Again, I wouldn't be involved in it to see yung added value to it, but there is so much added value to these types.
There's so much
of,
to learn still.
Yes,
Siguro.
yes. All right, thank you so much. May karabi sa boso,
Thank you,
Karata.
Carolina.
Thank you.
Oportunidades.
No, thank you,
Always
boso.
a pleasure.
Always.
We'll be back.
in your
Yes, ito
program.
may sige recycle boso.
Yes. We love it.
We love it.
Danke na everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much for being nice and kind. Karata, nice and kind. Durante weekend aqui, durante simang itur dia por. It's an active choice. Ting ora to tiki mas energia go outro. Karo ko tabay ting volunteers aweri bakay. Please, if traffic ko tong tiki pegar, just be patient. No pita hende anto grita ko fresco. Me just karabi sa say. E tambe as we go into Pride Month is simang aqui. see for whatever reason, but sinti ko no kiar support, anto ko ta sinti ka sa kita algo ko no ta agree with, mi carpedibo pa at least ora not a mean during these times. Misa ko porta difícil ting ora, paso sta hena nang ko diferente tipo di emosyon nang, pero mi carpedibo pa please make, a conscious choice into being a nice person. Thank you so much. Anto, I will be back here next week. Manera mention also about mental health in regards to the LGBTQIA plus community. Stay tuned. Thank you to Georgina and PNG for making these conversations possible. Of course, danke na kula fan pataong inclusive platform ko talaga nos papitame di tipo di topiko ng aki. So thank you for that. Yes, follow me on Instagram for more information. Sincerely.Carolina, and for a chance to win tickets to Pride on Stage. Okay.